Hi everyone, this is Molly from Colorful Freshwater Fish Tanks. I'm making a video today about my female elephant ear betta, whose name is Ruth. She has been showing signs of lethargy for a while. She had stringy white poop. She has shown slight pine coning around her abdomen. Pine coning is when their scales stick out a little bit. And she's been having these symptoms for about 2 weeks now. I did one treatment, a 6-day treatment of Prazi-pro, which is an internal parasite medication for freshwater fish. I think it's also fine for saltwater fish. It's an internal parasite medication. And then a few days ago, 4 days ago actually, I did a water change after the 6-day treatment of Prazi-pro. And I was watching her to see if I thought the treatment was successful, but you can see she's still very lethargic. She's leaning to the side a little bit. Honestly, I think the treatment helped slightly. She was a little perkier after the water change. And she had been showing like a slight S-curve to her shape when she was swimming around before the treatment, but her body seems to have straightened out a little bit, and that S-curve is a sign of parasites. It can be a sign of other things as well, but it is also associated with internal parasites in fish. So she's doing slightly better, but she's definitely not well. And you can see that she's definitely not well. And unfortunately, I have Ruth in a divided tank. It's this divided 10-gallon Aquarium tank. There's a female betta and a single ram's horn snail on each side. The betta on the other side is named Susan. Susan. She's very pretty. And I did do the Prazi-pro treatment in this tank. Because Prazi-pro is a pretty mild medication, and it's not known to cause organs to fail or anything like that. And it's a good idea to deworm fish occasionally anyway. Live plants can introduce parasites into tanks. You just never know. So it's a good idea to deworm fish occasionally anyway. But now I'm wondering if I should put Ruth in some sort of hospital tank, because I'm going to do a second treatment of Prazi-pro. And I don't know about giving Susan 2 unnecessary treatments of a medication. It seems kind of risky. I'm really torn because it also doesn't seem that risky. Because Prazi-pro is really mild, and people use it all the time just to deworm fish when they get them from the store and so on. So anyway, that's what I'm deciding. I think I am going to medicate them in the tank one more time, and then after that, if Ruth is still doing really poorly, I'll definitely put her in my 1-gallon hospital tank. But I hate netting fish when I don't need to. It stresses them out so much. So what I'm going to do is do a water change and some gravel vacuuming with my gravel vacuum and clean the tank up a little bit. And then I'm going to put fresh water in that I treat with C-Chem Prime and Stress Guard. And then I'm going to do one more treatment of Prazi-pro. And then after that, I'll make a video of how things are looking, and we'll continue this video. And at a later time, in a few more days, I'll make another video of Ruth to show how she's doing. Hopefully she survives. That's always the risk with fish, is sometimes they don't survive. And especially with these bettas from the pet stores, you just never know what you're going to get, but they're so cute and I love them so much. Susan is much healthier than most of the bettas that I have gotten from the big box pet stores, and she's from my local fish store, Animal House in Corvallis, Oregon, which is a great fish store if you're looking for fish and freshwater plants. And they also have a great saltwater section that I never venture into except to just look around. But anyway, now I'm going to do a water change and then we'll finish up the video. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so I just finished the water change. I used my super impressive water changing tools that are completely like super valuable, which is a 5-gallon bucket, this really cheap gravel vacuum, and a Norwex dishcloth, which I probably sound like a commercial, but I swear I'm not. I just really like certain products, and these little like Norwex like scrubby cloths get algae off of the inside of tank glass really well. So if you have any like stubborn algae, you should get one of those. There's Ruth. She seems perky compared to earlier, like fish almost always do after a water change. You can see there's lots of bubbles and like fine detritus kicked up into the water, but of course when I turn the filters back on, that will clear after a few hours. Both of the girls have a sponge filter, a small sponge filter on each side of the tank. They each have one, and then they also each have a small hang-on back filter that I replace the cartridges that go in those with just coarse sponge. And so now I'm going to do a Prazi-pro treatment. So this is the product, Health Aid Prazi-pro. And it's 1 teaspoon per 20 gallons, and this is a 10-gallon tank, so I'm going to do half a teaspoon, and I'm going to err on the side of caution because, of course, there's not actually 10 gallons of water in this 10-gallon tank. It has decor and plants and substrate. It's not filled completely to the top because I want to make sure that the girls can't jump over the divider. It has filters and heaters taking up space, so I need to keep that in mind. I'm actually going to do slightly less than half a teaspoon, and I'm going to pour it on Ruth's side, and then I'm going to turn the adjustment valve up on her sponge filter so that it's going pretty quickly for an hour or so to really circulate the water. I've had it turned down pretty low for the last couple of weeks because she seemed lethargic and I didn't want there to be a high current in her tank. But I'm going to turn it up for a couple of hours so that we can make sure that she gets the medicine and that it gets everywhere in the tank. So here's my half teaspoon. Here's my Prazi-pro. Here's how I open this tank lid. Oh, goodness gracious. And I just knocked over my empty pitcher that I use to fill the tanks. But that's no big deal because it's empty, fortunately. Of course, there's another tank back there. So I'm going to do this and then I'll make another video in a couple of days, guys, and let you know how she's doing. So give me 1 second. So you can see that how I do it is I always just poke a tiny hole in that part. Like once you open the cap of Prazi-pro, then I poke a tiny hole in that sealant because it's like this thick liquid and it works way better that way to like squeeze it out rather than pour it out. So I've got my almost full half teaspoon of Prazi-pro and I'm just putting it in and I'm going to swish it around. And then I'm gonna turn up the adjustment valve on her sponge filters so that the bubbles go way faster. See how there's way more bubbles now? There's Ruth. And so that will help circulate the water more quickly and more thoroughly. So I'll make another video in a couple of days, and hopefully she's all better by then. Hopefully the abdominal swelling has gone down. Hopefully she doesn't have any pine coning, and hopefully she has more energy and will want to eat, because she hasn't eaten in a while. She's been refusing food. So we'll get an update in a couple of days, guys. Say, feel better, Ruth. And there's one last look at Susan. Hi, Susan. Bye, Susan. Oh, yeah. Hi again, guys. And I always forget to say this, but please subscribe to my channel if you want to keep seeing my videos, if you appreciate what I'm doing. And I'm going to keep getting better equipment and making better videos, but stay with me on this beta journey and subscribe if you would. And also, a lot of the information that I'm getting is from the admins and the members of a wonderful group on Facebook called A Beta Life. So if you want to learn more about betas and hang out with a really cool group of people online, you should go on Facebook and maybe find that group, A Beta Life. So thanks again, guys, and please subscribe.